In looking towards the future of human societies, the way that we build cities should be something that is examined very closely. Bearing in mind the massive amount of energy that will be available through solar and wind, there are some incredibly exciting possibilities, some of which could be started as soon as we address the energy crisis. The first concept that needs to be addressed is building upwards rather than outwards. To be more specific, we currently build cities in mostly 2 dimensions, with only the largest cities even exploiting the 3rd dimension to any real degree at all. There are many problems with this, the worst of which is that we are running out of places to build, and building in this way spreads everything out so far as to waste great amounts of time and energy just getting people from place to place for work, commerce, and play. My proposal is this: develop megastructures that not only maximize the use of the space that we have, but also minimize waste within that space in order to create a very compact, comfortable, functional, and versatile habitat for humans. My first calculations were made regarding absolutely gigantic structures, several cubic miles in volume. The basic calculation can be scaled to any size or shape of structure depending on architectural vision, landscape, and the needs of the future inhabitants. These numbers allow for 625,000 people to inhabit each cubic mile, in what I will now illustrate as the possibility of extreme luxury. The basic model is 625,000 inhabitants per cubic mile. This affords a total volume of 200,000 cubic feet per person. This volume is apportioned to 4 basic categories, in order to support the life of the people within the structure, and for the sake of simplicity, I have divided this space equally among the 4 categories, providing 50,000 cubic feet for each. The first category, of course, is infrastructure. That is basically to say that 1/4 of the entire volume of any monostructural city would fill the utilitarian needs of the people within. This includes the metal beams that form the actual framework of the city, but also such things as walls, plumbing, air ducts, elevators, hallways, access passages, and all of the space that needs to be taken up with all of the things that keep people happy, healthy, and alive. The second category, then, is living quarters. This is 50,000 cubic feet of interior space for every adult who is contributing to society. 50,000 cubic feet is roughly equivalent to a 5,000 square foot home with 10-foot vaulted ceilings. This space can be used in any way that the resident wishes, including full remodeling, as the energy cost to do so would be negligible. Granted, not all of this space would be used as direct personal living space in most cases, but I will cover that in a moment. The third category is commerce and industry. Factories themselves would not really factor into these figures, being likely buried beneath the rest of the city where the machines can toil in peace. However, this category would include all of the workplaces, offices, shops, restaurants, and all businesses where people work and acquire goods and services. Looked at realistically, this is probably too large a portion. But everybody likes huge open-air malls to shop in and large private offices, so we'll leave this at 1/4 until preliminary architectural drafts are attempted. The fourth category could be called recreation, though originally I had looked at it as only comprising parks and gardens. Parks and gardens inside? You're probably thinking that I must be insane. The point is that with nearly unlimited energy and with all of the power saved from not needing so many street lights, the cost of lighting large indoor parks with solar quality lighting is not such an extravagance. This means that your access to grass and flowers and the beauty of nature is always going to be close at hand, and in fact you might choose to have private gardens along the edges of your home, giving you all of the enjoyment of gardening that you would have had in a conventional home. Now, there are a few very important things that I want to touch on during this quick overview. First, in such a structure you would never be more than 5 minutes or so from everything in life that you would need, which for most people living in or near the city would give you back between 1 to 3 hours of free time every day. Not only that, but since the amount of wasted space has been minimized, traveling to the other side of the city could be extremely fast, depending on the size of the structure used. Going a mile in 10 minutes by elevator isn't too hard to imagine. Second, because you can cross the entire city in just a few minutes, your access to wild spaces would actually be much closer than it probably is for you today. As people inhabit these structures, many regions of the old cities could be dismantled to make space for large parks and gardens surrounding the new cities. Obviously, some historic areas would be preserved for their own enjoyment, but for the most part, when you stepped outside of the city, you would immediately be in clean, fresh air with the sounds and colors of thriving nature all around you, and the ability to find some peace and serenity with very little effort involved. The last thing that I would like to touch on is the reforging of the idea of communities. In modern cities, vast numbers of people are crammed together with no underlying structure, no motive for being together other than selfish pursuits. In the new cities, it would be encouraged for communities to come together of like-minded individuals who want to be more closely entwined than they normally would be currently. By forming a community, people could establish their own rules of conduct for their neighborhood, and could form close personal ties to their friends and neighbors in a way that many people miss from small-town life. Not only this, but a preformed community would have special privileges for planning and design, being allowed to allocate portions of each person's living space to larger-scale pursuits, like local movie theaters, indoor ball courts, rec rooms, computer rooms, communal kitchens, swimming pools. Anything that can be imagined could be implemented so long as people agree to live and work together to make their community a better place.